about the penalty that wasn't given against Manchester United in favour of Chelsea? Maguire on Azpilicueta. I mean, Azpilicueta spoke about it in his post-match interview. It was quite precise with his words. He wasn't too critical, I should add. I don't think he can be without risking a fine of some sort. But upon viewing it, Stephen, did the referee get this correct? Preempt me what you're going to say on Ref Watch on Monday in the UK.
Again, baffled by the decision. I think the decision, the referee has got so much going on within the penalty box that it's a difficult situation for him to know where to look, how early that Maguire's got his arms around Azpilicueta. But this is where VAR does have its benefit. It is able to look at this situation. And when you see Harry Maguire basically having his arm around the neck of Cesar Azpilicueta, it's a clear penalty. It stops Azpilicueta jumping up. He pushes down on his shoulders, stops him getting a clear jump for the header. How it's not given for a penalty is just beyond me. I'm more baffled by that incident than I am by the Fabinho incident as well.
Gary, which was more baffling for you? I think that's the word of the day, baffled or baffling.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's quite simple. You know, that is a foul by Maguire on Azpilicueta. It is a penalty. I can understand why the referee wasn't able to give it in real time as it happened, because there is so much going on in the penalty area. You know, there's so much contact and holding and blocking, etc. But I think when that holding of Maguire occurs on Azpilicueta, who is actually going to head the ball because he is in front of Maguire, and ultimately he's unable to head the ball because he's fouled, and Maguire manages to head it away. I think that the cameras picked that up. We've seen it. The cameras did pick it up. I think that the top games these days, and it depends on the stadium, they're covered by something like 32 to 38 different cameras. So I think just about everything that happens on a football pitch gets covered. Whether it gets covered from exactly the ideal angle, because from one of those camera angles, you know, I wasn't convinced that it was a foul because I couldn't see. But from the best camera angle, it clearly is a foul. And I'm amazed that VAR didn't make that decision and liaise with the referee. And I'm amazed that Chelsea didn't get a penalty.
I want to just put this out there. Straight after this happened, a very reputable publication, an online one, issued a statement from their website saying that it was checked. They were told that VAR did check on the Maguire-Azpilicueta incident and it was deemed to not be a penalty. Does that surprise you, Gary? The fact that it seems that was seen, it was analysed, it was looked at from multiple camera angles, but they're not saying what you're saying, that it should have been a penalty.
Well, for me, the laws of the game state that if you are holding an opponent, deliberately holding an opponent to prevent him from getting the ball, it is a direct free kick. If you concede a direct free kick within the penalty area, it is a penalty. So, yes, I'm baffled.
There's that word again, baffled. I think that's the fourth or fifth time that we've used it. Does that change your assessment on anything, on how VAR is conducted? Stephen, I know we talked about releasing the audio, letting the audience, the fans know exactly what's being said, but are you worried that they can't identify that as a penalty?
Well, I mean, that's the worrying part about it all, is that they've reviewed it, they've looked at it, and they do not feel that that's a penalty. I mean, I go back to the World Cup when VAR was first introduced, and England had a terrific run in the competition and got multiple penalties off the introduction of VAR. And what it was brought in for was incidents exactly like that, was holding in the penalty box when the referee couldn't have his eyes looking at every single incident going on in the penalty box. And basically VAR became the referee's eyes to help him out. Have we missed anything on the pitch? Can it help us out? And this is the clear and obvious error of a referee where he hasn't spotted an incident, and that the VAR should pick up on that and say, you've missed one. There's clear holding in the penalty area. But again, go to the pitch side monitor. Take accountability for being the referee of the game. It's far too easy for me to pass the buck on to someone else who's sat in a VAR booth miles from the stadium, who's in the moment of the game. Deal with the situation on the pitch.
Gary?
Yeah, I do think that what would appease a lot of people is if the referee, the match day referee, actually looks as if he is more of the decision maker. So he goes to the pitch side monitor and he views it himself. Of course, the VAR can be talking to him, but ultimately that way it appears that it is more the referee's decision, because the referee has the best feel for the game, the circumstances, the situation, the tempo and the pace of the game, because he's there. And then with that additional support from VAR by looking at the TV monitor, I think it would please an awful lot of people. It would certainly make me feel more comfortable about the situation, rather than me feeling that it's a faceless person hundreds of miles away who's making the decision on a TV monitor. And we all know that one TV angle appears to suggest one thing, but when you see it from another TV angle, it appears to suggest something quite different. So the deciding factor has to be the referee at the venue for me.
Stephen, the bigger picture is VAR officials are going through dozens of decisions every single match. We aren't privy to each and every single one. I think a game would probably last about 5 hours if that was the case, if they had to show the decision-making process for every single thing on TV. We only see the big ones, of which suddenly on our screens will have the VAR and the decision-making. What do you think the success rate is based on that so far within the Premier League? And what should the success rate be, in your opinion? Because it is still a human interpretation, and bearing that in mind, not everybody will always be happy with a decision.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. Would the decisions of a referee on the pitch without VAR be that much different to what with the VAR? I don't think you're going to see that much difference in a game of football over the course of a season with big decisions. I think our referees, our fourth officials and linesmen and women, they are almost passing the buck now, and it's almost a get out of jail card when they make decisions. And I'd just like to see them trusted again and give them back the power that they had, because I think VAR is slowly sucking the life out of the game of football, and it's becoming disappointing. What I don't like to see is strikers running away, looking and thinking, I don't want to celebrate here. And that's the way football is at the moment. There's so many subjective decisions. It is, again, it's human. Well, VAR was brought in to sort of eliminate errors, but a human is ultimately, again, making the decisions, which are subjective.
Do you feel that over the course of 38 games for each side, 380 matches in total, everything would even itself out with or without VAR in terms of correct and wrong decisions?
Personally, I do, yeah.
Yeah, I think ultimately, yes, it should level itself out. You mentioned a moment ago, Adam, about what sort of percentage. I would like to think with VAR that you're close to every decision, if not every decision you do get right. So I'm saying 9 out of 10 you should get right. Well, that's 90%. I'm saying, well, 19 out of 20 you should get right. Now that's 95%, for example. Yes, some decisions are purely subjective, and as two former players, you can show us a tackle, and occasionally Stephen will have a different opinion on that to me. So that is purely subjective. But when it's, is that foul inside the 18-yard box or not? Did Fabinho's foot make contact with the ball or not, I'd like to think that aspect is 100% right with VAR.